So in the most recent homework, you've been solving quadratic equations. And so we have those skills, we have the graphing skills, we have a lot going on with quadratics. We're gonna finally start to use them. So I'm gonna give you a couple of example problems in a couple different videos. The first thing I wanna mention about doing word problems in quadratics is it's very likely you need to draw a diagram. You need to draw a picture of what's going on. That tends to be very important in how you go about solving quadratic equations. So here's an example. I'm looking here at photography. So photography, you're constructing a frame for the rectangular photo shown. Notice that the rectangular photo is 11 by 17. They don't tell you that in the problem, but they tell you that in the drawing. You want the frame to be the same width all the way around. So that's where this X is. I get a little different color out here. That's where this X is, and this X, and this X, and this X. So that would be the width of the frame all the way around. You want the frame to be the same width all the way around, and the total area of the frame to be, the frame and photo, to be 315 inches squared. What should the outer dimensions of the frame be? Okay, so just to emphasize the drawing aspect of this, I'm going to draw it again. So let's see, we have a photo inside of a frame, and these widths here of the frame are X on all sides, right? It's like a mat. It's like a mat that goes around a picture. And the picture itself is 17 by 11. All right, that means this total dimension here is 17 plus 2x. And this total dimension here is 11 plus 2x. That should be a plus sign, by the way. See if I can make that better. 11 plus 2x. So we have this distance of 11 here, and then here's x, and here's x. Therefore, that's 11 plus 2x. And we have this dimension of 17 here, and then there's an x here and an x here. So there's your 17 plus 2x. And we want the area of the entire thing to be 315. All right, so this is where we can get to writing an equation. So that drawing, I hope, shows, oh, we have area of a rectangle. And area of a rectangle is going to be the two dimensions multiplied together. So that's going to be 17 plus 2x times 11 plus 2x equals 315. And there you have an equation. Right? We can't use zero product property yet because it's equal to 15, but we can solve this equation. And we'll be solving for x. We'll be finding the dimension of the frame all the way around, which is not the actual final question. They want the outer dimensions of the frame, which frankly, I get a lot of you, given the type of problem solving we did earlier in the year, a lot of you would go about this totally different ways than this. But this is the prescribed method for understanding how to solve equations in Algebra 2. So we're warming you up for Algebra 2. You're going to have a lot of questions like this in Algebra 2 in a couple of years. So we would first expand this equation. 17 times 11, we get 187. Let's see, 2x times 11 is 22. 2x times 17 is 34. So that's 56x plus 4x squared equals 315. We have to make this equal to 0 so we can use zero product property. So we're going to subtract 315 from both sides. We get 4x squared plus 56x minus, let's see, I did this before, minus 128. Okay. And then 4 factors out of all that. Now that's going to lead to something that I want to talk about. Let's see, 56 is going to be 14, and 128 is going to be 32, I think, equals 0. Okay, so notice we're equaling 0 on the right side. So 4 times whatever, the 4 doesn't matter, all right? So we can actually just ignore it. We can divide it out of both sides if you want. That's not true if you're graphing 4x squared plus 56 minus 28 equals y. But because we're equaling 0, we're only concerned with the y, the x-intercepts rather. So because we're only concerned with the x-intercepts, the 4 doesn't matter, because if you think about the graph, the 4 stretches it away from the x-axis. All right, so we can just ignore the 4 for solving an equation. And then we're going to factor this. Let's see, 32 is going to be 16 and 2. So x, 16, 2. The 16 has to be positive, the 2 has to be negative, and therefore x equals either 2 or negative 16. Now, we're looking for a dimension. So this negative 16 is extraneous. This doesn't mean anything. X equals 2 is the dimension of the edge of this frame. X equals 2 is the dimension of the edge of the frame. So the total dimensions of the picture become 11 plus 2 plus 2, which is 15, and 17 plus 2 plus 2, which is 21. So the answer is 15 by 21. All right, now the big takeaways here. Quadratic equation word problems. Draw a diagram. Draw a diagram. Super, super important to draw a diagram. Draw a diagram. Super, super important. All right. And then your equation, winds up some type of quadratic that you have learned how to solve. There's the skill part. But the big deal is drawing some type of picture so you can make sense of the problem that's given to you. Very, very often these things are geometry based, area based. There's going to be other scenarios as well, but very often they're that. The next word problem I give you has to do with gravity, and that's a particular equation. So there's an equation to learn. You're definitely going to have to memorize that during Algebra 2. Obviously, there's no requirement to memorize that this year because we're not having a final exam, but otherwise there would be.